Hey, good morning, Flatirons, Aurora. Welcome to our first quarantine coffee and Jesus session. We are going to dive right into the book of Philippians and just kind of talk about it and go through it as our Aurora community. We missed you all this weekend, and we hope that you were able to jump online and just watch the service and hear from Ben. It was an amazing talk, and so would definitely recommend, if you missed it for whatever reason, to hop online and check it out. But for this whole week, we're gonna be going through the book of Philippians and just kind of share with you our thoughts and some of the overarching themes, different things like that. And then we want to hear from you. We want to hear what your thoughts are, what you're going through, what kind of this epistle like sparks in you. If you have questions, if you have needs, whatever it is, we still want to come alongside you guys and support you in whatever way we can. So Philippians is a short little book in the New Testament, and it was written by Paul in about 62 AD, but they're not exactly sure the time, and Paul probably wrote it while he was in prison, and they don't really know if it was while he was in house arrest or if he was in a Roman prison or something like that. Because Paul doesn't talk a whole lot about that in the epistle. He really is encouraging the Philippians, the people there, and just expressing his gratitude to them. So they had sent him a financial gift, and so he wrote this back to them, thanking them and appreciating them and just trying to encourage them. So Philippians is often known as the epistle of joy, because Paul really, even with his dark circumstances of being in house arrest or in prison, he's joyful. And that's because he doesn't find his joy from supernatural or superficial things or anything like that. He finds it in Christ only. He truly understands the gospel, and that's where his joy is. And so we thought during this time, I'm sure, at least I feel like I'm maybe under house arrest sometimes because, we've all been in our houses for at least a week now, with very limited access to the outside world, to our normal entertainment and our normal routines. And so we can kind of relate to Paul in that we're just kind of stuck. And it's hard and it's not fun. But in that we can still find joy because our joy should be coming from Christ. And that's Paul's example for us, is that he truly found his joy in Christ, and because he knows the gospel's true. And so nothing else of this world really mattered to him except for to share that with other people. So Paul talks a lot about that throughout the entire throughout the entire book of Philippians. He gives the people a lot of encouragement and encourages them to find joy in their community. And that can be really hard, especially right now for us, for the same reasons I talked about earlier. It's really hard to get together and be in community with each other, just because of everything that's going on. But we're so blessed and so lucky to have different outlets, through social media, being able to video chat, like Zoom meetings. I don't know how many I've had of those this week, and just being able to hang out with our loved ones, which is a really special time because sometimes the busyness of life can distort that and thwart that. And so finding joy in just each other and in the community that's around us. So Paul talks a lot about that. And then joy in persecution. So Paul is in prison, and it's probably not pleasant for him. I can't imagine what their standards were back then, but I'm sure it wasn't fantastic, and he's still joyful. And so I know a lot of you are going through hard times, and there's a lot of unknown variables. Some jobs are being lost, so that's scary. You go to the grocery store and you can't find what you need. And so there are really scary things happening. And in that too, Paul encourages us and is the example to us to find joy in that. because Christ suffered as well. And, Paul understood that, and he sees like the end goal of suffering and persecution, and knows that it's going to make us as believers stronger, and really wants us to hold on to that. And then also joined service. He talks a lot about that, of like just doing things for other people, in humility, and having a servant's heart. Christ had a servant's heart, Paul had a servant's heart, and during this time, again, like it's so applicable to right now, because when, like, I know especially for me, like there are times where I'm like, I just need toilet paper, like that's all. Like, I just want some toilet paper, and I don't really want to go outside of myself and help maybe the elderly woman next to me, who's also trying to get toilet paper, or, help a neighbor. One of my neighbors just had a baby, and, I'm like, I'm sure she's really freaked out and probably really tired. But being able to just go, like, drop a meal off or send her a text and be like, hey, like, can I pick you up dinner? I won't touch it or anything, but, what can I do to help you? And so Paul really encourages us to do that as well throughout the entire book. So in this book, there's a lot of great examples and just a lot of encouragement, especially during hard times. And so I'm really excited for us to just go through it as a group, and like be able to talk about it and dissect it. So we're going to do one chapter per day. So obviously this was just the intro. So tomorrow, Jamie is going to go through chapter 1 with you guys, and really dive into some of those themes and different like key verses, and different things like that. So go ahead and read ahead if you have the time. If not, that's okay. You can just tune in and hear what Jamie has to say, and then again share your thoughts, because we're still here for you guys, and we still want to be in community with you and hang out with you guys and help you with anything that you need. So please feel free to reach out. You can send us an email if you have our email addresses, or send us a text. You can DM us on Instagram or Facebook. So yeah, love you guys, and I'm so excited to do this with you. Thanks.